All right. So today I'm going to tackle BTS. To start off with, I am a huge fan of BTS, definitely an army. Today I wanted to go over Save Me and I'm Fine, which are kind of an odd choice to go over as far as BTS songs because they were not huge. They were a little bit more hidden as far as like they didn't reach the amount of attention that songs like DNA or Mic Drop did. However, I feel like in order to really kind of get into what makes BTS so good, I want to do it with those two songs. So I'm going to start off with Save Me from BTS. Love this song. There's going to be a lot of pausing. Sorry if that bothers you. Can I just say, I love the ticking sound. Don't know why. I just love the ticking sound. And I really love the melody right there. Talk about a good melody that gets stuck in your head. Save Me, definitely one of them. Okay, first of all, Jimin's voice, beautiful. I love the way he sings this part. Also, when he comes in, so fast. Those lyrics are so fast, and he does them very cleanly, which is hard. It's very hard to sing something really quickly, really cleanly, because oftentimes it causes you to trip over your words, which then makes you incapable of continuing. Kudos. I do have to say, the transition always between Jimin and Jungkook, seamless. Even in this piece, which I feel like is, I would say, part of their earlier career, seamless. Their voices are very similar and they mesh really well. In fact, for a few lines when I first listened to this, could not tell there was a difference in singers, which I am one of those people who kind of prides myself on being able to tell that it is a different singer. And there is an obvious switch in style, but I don't know. At the same time, it is very seamless and very beautiful to listen to. Also, Jungkook, I know why he's everybody's bias, and it's because he's got a gorgeous voice and dances like a beast. I do have to say, with his voice and the way he sings this, adding like that kind of tone to it can be very difficult to switch in and out of as far as keeping it sweet in a sense, because this is kind of one of the sweeter songs that BTS has done. This definitely isn't Bapse by any means, but it's hard to do that. It's very hard. It's much easier to stick with one or the other. It's kind of like if you're gonna sing falsetto, it's easier to sing a piece fully in falsetto than it is to go over your bridge, meaning going back into your chest voice. It is very hard to just continuously flip over the bridge back and forth, which BTS tends to do because they're BTS. Do have to say, Taehyung's voice, definitely my favorite. Love his timbre. Oh, it is gorgeous. I love the way he sings and the way he sounds doing it. That right there is a slide done correctly. Slides are very difficult in music because they rarely sound good. They just rarely do. You have to be able to do it correctly and not linger too long in between on the notes. there has to be a good amount of time in between them so that you hear the slide, but you can't spend too much time in those in between notes or it sounds muddled. And by the time you get to the resolution, you're just grateful it's over. Also, background vocals. Find a video. I know there's a video on YouTube. I probably should put a link in the description. I may or may not. But I love listening to the background vocals in this song as well. Just gonna say that Mr. J-Hope is probably the #1 backup vocal for BTS. He's literally in all of those videos, and it's kind of ridiculous to find out how much he sings. I do like the way the bass dropped and the beat dropped on that. Just gonna throw that out. I'm sorry, but that is the perfect drop. They have a space right there, and then they have like a, that was bad, sound, and then the bass drops. So they don't just leave you with this empty nothing before the bass drops. They put something fun and interesting in there, which can be very hard to do as an artist, to find something that's a little bit new that people haven't heard a ton of, that's still something in there that, anyway, it's very well done. Very well done. I love the contrast between these vocals in the background and the foreground, using almost their vocals digitized and kind of chopped up a little bit through synthesizing as a beat, as a bass, as something to bring in the music. And then, I mean, the actual like beat line that they have going on that's kind of in double time is really fun, because we've had kind of that knocking sound in the beginning, and then we had that little click, and then this comes in, and then there is like a double time beat in there. Very interesting, very well done. This adds all of it, adds that tune that we love, adds a little bit of like a synthesized feel to it, and yet it's got that, you know, constant bass line beating out the bass. Perfect for a dance break, which BTS always kills. Just throwing that out there. I love this tone for Suga. I feel like he has a lot of different ways of rapping, which we especially saw in Boy With Love. When he started rapping, I was like, who the heck is this? Shocked to find out it was one of the original members. I was like, maybe they had someone else come in besides Halsey to help them with this piece. False. But I love kind of the airiness that he throws in this. I mean, he spits fire. We all know that. We all know that he can do that. It's kind of nice to hear him tone it down a little bit for songs like Save Me. I appreciate that. Also, huge J-Hope fan. Huge J-Hope fan. I love that his rap lines oftentimes break up the other groups because he has a different tone. It's like throwing Taehyung's voice into a song. It breaks up the sound of Jimin and Jungkook and Jin because they do sound so similar. Not that they sound the same, they just sound similar enough that when you throw Taehyung in there with a deep growl or a rasp to his voice, it's so different, it throws you. So I love that they do that. I feel like Rap Monster and, well, I guess it's RM. It's RM, be murdered today. And Suga, oftentimes their rap lines are more aggressive. And I feel like J-Hope kind of tones them down and brings that lightness, which I know RM has actually voiced that opinion but himself. And I 100% agree with it. Also, that was singing. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Every member of BTS can sing to different levels. Obviously, I know there's some people who throw Jin under the bus. There's some people who throw RM under the bus. There's some people who throw, I mean, everybody, I think, except for probably Jungkook, has been thrown under the bus for not being able to sing amazingly. But they all can sing. Case in point, Otsukare, a Japanese song that Soap did. If you don't know what that is, SOPE, BTS, look that up. For background vocals, beautiful, Jimin. I love it. The way that he comes in to tone this song down right here, because it is kind of that bridge section. Oh, it's gorgeous. I do love that oftentimes BTS really takes advantage of their background vocals. Oftentimes they harmonize with themselves. And that to me is awesome because I like being able to harmonize with someone if no one else. But I think it would be extra cool to harmonize with yourself because no one is going to blend more than you will with yourself. Just throwing it out there. Jungkook throwing those extras in there. Beautiful. Just have to point it out, guys. Go back and listen to it. Ugh, change your life. Again, I already mentioned that Suga kind of toned his rap down and that him and RM are usually a little bit more aggressive. I like that they at least start off soft. There's nothing that kind of bothers me more than when you have this beautiful vocal line that happens. You're in it, you're feeling it, and then the rap line comes in. And it feels a little bit overwhelming because it's a little too much. It's too harsh. It's too aggressive. That for me is really hard. I feel like it detracts from the feeling of the song. They have done such a good job not doing that. And I really appreciate it as a person because I kind of feel a little bit attacked when that happens, when the rap line comes in and you're like, whoa, oh my gosh, that's just the rap line. Hold on. Let me go fix my heart rate for a second. Right there, that's a layered voice. That's RM over himself. Another like background vocals thing that they killed because BTS just has learned the hard way how to do it, which is cool. I think it's important to mention they were not always popular. In fact, they almost disbanded. Um, and they went hungry for a long time, guys. They have worked so hard for where they are today. Anyway, I really, really, really love the extra vocals that are thrown in here by Jungkook. They're gorgeous. They're beautiful. They add just enough to remind you that this isn't just a full rap song, but there are vocals that are happening. I did want to mention something, but I don't know that I remember exactly what it was. I love how this feels like original rap right here when RM is doing his part because you have your bass line, your beat, and your rap artist. And I think that's cool. I love that they just kind of they take away the unnecessary music for you to be able to hear who it is who's performing at the best of their ability with minimal amount of backup needed, which is beautiful because this allows that rap and that kind of hidden vocal, if you will, to shine because they're not being overpowered or overshadowed by any other set of music, which that's how music should be done. It draws your ear to what is most important, which is the artist in this case. Again, beautiful job. I love Save Me. I love how perfectly it leads into I'm Fine, which is what we're going to do right now. I apologize. This video is probably going to end up super long, but I feel like I have to do it. Oops. There we go. All right, here we go. I'm Fine by BTS. These songs, you'll understand why I'm doing them together. But again, I'm going to try and point out some new things that they did with I'm Fine that maybe they didn't. I'm always going to praise them on their background vocals because BTS nails it when it comes to that. So, with I'm Fine. First of all, I love that like C sound. It makes it almost sound like it's far away, like there's some distance. I love that they changed the key. And I also love that they almost broke up that melody that I was talking about that gets stuck in your head from Save Me. They broke it up so it's not a complete melody anymore. It was kind of choppy. And that to me adds character to this song, which is not, it's not Save Me, it's I'm Fine. So just throwing that out there. So if you listen in the background, this almost has the exact same buildup that Save Me had, which is awesome because it's a callback to that original song. I think it's amazing that they did this. I'm a huge fan. Also, the fact that Taehyung started will always get me because his voice can sound so desperate. There we go. That's the word I'm thinking of. His voice can sound so desperate, which is beautiful. That's kind of what this song is about. If you read the lyrics, which I've mentioned before, are really important to me. Also, I recommend watching the dance for this because the dance is absolutely beautiful. I love the way it starts. Anyway. I do love that they started with Taehyung and then went back to Jimin because it again just calls back to Save Me. It just does. And I'm sorry I pause every time I try to say the title. I have to remember if I'm talking about Save Me or I'm Fine. It's fine. I feel like this is one of those times where RM comes in really strong, but I feel like what they did to compensate that, because if it were me, this is my own opinion, the two furthest voices in BTS would be RM and Jimin. Jimin probably has like one of the sweetest singing voices, which we all appreciate, especially his high notes. And RM has such a kind of like a rough, coarse, raspy rap voice, which is awesome. And both of them shine. I'm impressed that they're in the same group. If you look at them separately, it's like, no, I would never see that. And the fact that they put their voices right next to each other in this part is huge. But what they did to compensate that shift and that switch was to boost the music. So the music kind of brings you into that louder point. If you're listening just to the music, you're expecting something to happen here. It's not like they just kind of threw you in the deep end and it went dead quiet. And then RM started with this, kind of angry, aggravated type, aggressive rap. That's not what they did. They allowed the music to crescendo into his rap. And so you're like, oh, here we go. Yeah, I'm feeling this. And it creates that flow that we love so much about music. Sorry, going to continue. I love that they took that like double time beat that they had in the chorus of Save Me and put it into the verse of I'm Fine. If you compare this verse and the original chorus, they actually sound very similar, which is very cool because, again, this is a callback. Again, I love the airiness. If you listen, I feel like the music swells to bring RM in, and then he brings his rap kind of down so that by the time Jungkook comes in, you're expecting it. The way that's how BTS has created songs that flow so smoothly and don't leave you in a moment where you're like, you're never shocked or surprised. The music leads beautifully into what is coming next, and they take your hand and they lead you through the music, and they never leave you like stunned or shocked or uncomfortable. And I love that. That's what makes this such a good song. And I mean this by both of them and probably all of the BTS songs that I adore and listen to, and even probably the ones I don't. But that's why their music is so good, is they lead you through the music. You feel it. You're never left at a point where you're just like, I'm uncomfortable, like I don't know what's happening. They almost walk you through it, but they still have enough in there that you're like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. So that, again, I'm just gonna point this out. That was a transition between Jungkook and Jin, and it was seamless, which is awesome because I feel like of all the singers of BTS, Jin gets thrown under the bus the most, which is sad because he really does have good vocals and he's worked really hard for them, which is something anyone who's worked for anything can appreciate. Um, he has worked very, very hard. And I'm not going to say that he's worked harder than anybody else, but I am grateful for the work that he's put into his vocals to make them the way that they are. This is I feel like a good place to point out, like, that transition again. I know I'm focusing on the vocals. I'm trying not to rewind. This video is getting so long. But I am going to talk about kind of the beat switch up. Obviously, this is a double time chorus, which is exactly what they had in the last one. But I love, this is a perfect opportunity to show that you can hear the difference between Jimin and Jungkook's voice. There is definitely a difference. It's definitely not the same. But the fact that they make their voices so similar for those transitions so that you as an audience aren't like, oh, it's a new singer. Or, like I said before, they're trying to lead you through that music without you feeling anything other than what you should in the music. And I feel like this is what allows BTS to really put their heart and soul into their music, because the listener never at any point in time is befuddled or confused or upset by what they're listening to. Just throwing it out there. So again, similarities and differences between the choruses. They are very similar. I almost feel like they wrote this as a this is where the song could have gone and we decided not to, and then we decided to. I've always kind of felt that way about these songs. Not going to say that that's truth or lie. That's just how I feel about it. But they have very similar bass lines. There's that double time. But what they've done is they've taken that techno sound that we got so used to in the first one that was very hummable, very singable, and they've changed it into one that's not very, it's fun to listen to, but I don't know that in any time of my lifetime I would be able to pick out and learn that as a harm or as a melody line. It's very complex, and that's what makes it fun to listen to because we're used to listening to Save Me. This is fun, this is new, this is exciting. We were hoping for something different. We kind of always are. It's always hard to listen to artists who their music all sounds exactly the same. And I feel like this was a great way to take a song that everybody loved and became familiar with and almost just spice it up, but still, show some newness and some fun to it. I do love that they allowed him to throw out Hope World. Something that I've noticed is that there's a sense of pride between rappers in like being able to say who they are before they start. And the fact that they started doing this in BTS, where they started kind of saying their name or kind of what they represent or what they stand for before they start into their verse, I think it's so cool. I think it's very, it plays honestly to big hits good because then you're like, oh, what's Hope World? And then you go look up that and end up down another rabbit hole you didn't mean to. But that is kind of the point, is that they're allowing them to really express who they are and explain who they are. And that only makes the listener more interested, which is why almost everyone is an ARMY. Sorry, there's a lot of other fandoms out there that I personally am a part of, and there's a lot of, fandoms out there that I don't even know about. But I feel like this is why almost everyone you run into has at least heard about BTS if they've heard about K-pop. And even if they haven't, they've probably by now heard about BTS. So I feel like this is why, because Big Hit allows them to make their listener curious, which only makes you want to listen to more of their music. Again, this transition is perfect to allow Suga to have a little bit more of an oomph to what he's rapping and what he's saying, is because there was a crescendo right before when he was supposed to start, which allows him to come in a little bit stronger. We saw that back when RM started his rap first, which that's why it meshes so well. That's why I prefer K-pop, because even though it has rap mixed with the vocals, they've found a way to marry the two. I feel like oftentimes a lot better than in other genres of music, and that doesn't mean that it's perfect. That doesn't mean that other genres don't do a good job at it. This is just my personal opinion and why I enjoy this genre. I do love that sometimes they throw in things that all of us have heard, like I'm so fine, you're so fine. Love that, because everybody's heard it, but this is a new way to hear it. I feel like this, if I was a vocal teacher, which I'm not, guys, I'm not, um, I would use that part right there with Jimin to describe the difference between your falsetto and your head voice and like your like throat and chest voice. You can hear the difference in the sound as he comes down from it. And it's beautiful because even though you can hear that difference, they have so fine tuned this art to the point where it doesn't bother you. And that's really like I played the clarinet, and if you go over the bridge the wrong way, everybody hears about it. And it's awful. It's terrible. And it's just like that with your voice. A lot of people crack over that bridge and that span, and BTS has just done such a good job of not doing that, which is very commendable. I think it's important too. I have to throw this out. Um, I've listened to K-pop songs where I was like, "Oh my gosh, I can't follow who's singing. It's the transitions are too fast," and that I feel like happens more with groups that are bigger. Um, I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus because I feel like that is a learning and growing experience for them. And that's my own personal opinion. I don't want to try and ruin anything for anybody else. But I feel like BTS just does such a good job of letting each and every member shine. Like, yeah, we all know that Jin is not the most wonderful dancer in the world. Has he worked his butt off to get where he's at? Heck yeah. Do we know that RM isn't the most wonderful singer in the world? Yes. Do we hear the improvement though in his rap? Absolutely. And so I feel like Big Hit not only has continued to train their artists, but they've continued to allow them to show off what they have learned, which is huge. If you were to, let's say, take an art class for months and months and months and months and months, and you put your heart and soul into this art class, and then you never got to show your art off, that would be awful. You would look back with so much regret and think, why did I do that? Why did I put myself through this art class if my art was never going to be shown to anybody? So I love that Big Hit does that because it allows BTS to grow as people, as artists, and as a group, which is awesome. I do love that Jin puts so much emphasis on the shine, shine, shine. It's beautiful to listen to, actually. It's kind of fun because, again, it's new. As an English listener, those songs, or those words, excuse me, stand out more because they're English. They're what I understand when I first listened to the song. And so it's always exciting to me to listen to their pronunciation. And granted, they speak a different language. Their pronunciation sometimes is awesome. I'm sure if I tried to speak Korean, my Korean would sound 10 times worse than their English does. But I appreciate sometimes the way that they enunciate because it almost changes the way that I hear the word that I've heard for years and years and years. And it can sometimes bring new meaning. So I'm just going to throw that out there. I do have to say, I love Taehyung's airy voice because you can almost hear the rasp in it. And that adds a layer to what he's doing. I also love that if you listen to this, there is almost like a constant sound in the background. There isn't really a melody happening, which is cool because it allows you to focus on the main vocals. Instead of putting background vocals here, they're allowing the artists, again, to express themselves. I wish that you could hear that better. Jimin right there does a beautiful, beautiful crescendo and goes up through a vocal line. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous to listen to, gorgeous. But it's in the background, and if you're not focusing on it, you don't hear it. Sorry, guys. And again, here, background vocals, guys, I'm sorry, BTS kills them every single time. I literally could just listen to the background vocals all day long because they sound so good. I just have to throw that out there. It adds so much to the music, just like in EXO's Tempo, which, if you haven't heard it, I did a video about it. I'm sorry this one is getting so long, but they had such a beautiful layer to the piece. They add more interest to it. They allow you to hear more harmonies, more overtones, more undertones. It brings out more of the music and makes it sound more full, makes it sound like more people are singing, which is awesome. And it's easy to perform that because you can add it to the backtrack and just go from there and let them sing the original vocals. Or you can have the backtrack play the main line and let them harmonize and do some more fun things with it that maybe they weren't able to do in the original recording. Just throwing it out there. I do have to say, right there, I feel like, again, you can always hear when Taehyung comes in, always, because his voice is so distinct. But they have worked so hard on their transitions that I have to bring it up. Go listen to these pieces again with much less pausing and much less talking, and just enjoy the transitions that they have between their bridges and their choruses and their verses, between their vocals and their rap. Between it all, they've just worked so hard, and now it's just a well-oiled machine. It's so fun and easy to listen to. Right there, beautiful example of breathiness. Okay, in conclusion, I love these two pieces. I love how they play off of each other. I already mentioned that it almost feels like I'm Fine is just like, well, we almost did this with Save Me, but then we didn't, but then we did. I love huge army, guys, all around the world. Just can't even. I love all of them for different reasons. And I feel like they did such a good job with these pieces and kind of recalling where they've come from, which I feel like BTS does a lot. In a lot of their songs, they talk about their hometowns and where they're from, and it's cool to listen to. This video is way too long. If you want to subscribe, feel free. If you subscribe, I will subscribe back to you. That's just kind of who I am. But hopefully we'll see you in the next video. I'm going to make sure this isn't 40 minutes long, so take care.